You could have all the talent in the world, but if the right guy isn't coaching them, it's hard to win in the Big Ten. Only 2 games in, and Holgersen's already gotten more out of the offense. 44 points for the first time since Rule got to Lincoln. 44 points on a defense that held the #1 team in the nation to only 16. Nebraska's bowling for the first time since 2016, so there's a lot to be excited about. But like Rule said on Saturday, this is the last time we'll celebrate 6 wins. The energy shifted after Wisconsin, but that was just the start. So today, we'll talk about Holgersen's impact on the offense, what went right for Raiola, and where Nebraska could play their bowl game. But what's up, guys? I'm Connor Hayden, and this is Crazed. If you're a fan of Nebraska or the Big Ten, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my portal coverage in the next few weeks. And if you think Dana's the piece this offense was missing, hit the like button and help us get to 1,000. But now, let's get into it.
He's hit and sacked. He's taking a shot downfield, wide open end zone, caught, touchdown.
If you're a casual fan looking at Nebraska's record, you might assume Wisconsin was the worst defense they faced this season. UTEP held them to 40 points, Northern Iowa only gave up 34, and even Purdue kept them under 30. The offense's performance wasn't exciting because they were playing a weak defense. Saturday inspired confidence because that was the third best D they've seen all year. It was a group effort, but 3 guys really stood out. Raiola played the best game he has all season, 28 of 38 for 293 yards, a touchdown, and 0 turnovers. We saw him smiling, he looked comfortable and confident, and the last month where he couldn't get things to go his way was all wiped away with one big performance. Emmett Johnson solidified himself as the most effective back on the roster. It kind of felt like he had the most upside all year, but the coaches really liked Dowdell and they never pulled the trigger on Emmett getting more touches. Holgersen wasn't having that. Emmett carried it 16 times for 113, and then he had 6 catches for another 85. So by the end of the day, he finished with more yards by any player in the Big Ten since Saquon Barkley back in 2017. Then you had Ja'Cory Barney, the true freshman who's solidified himself as Dillon's #1 target. He finished with 10 touches for 96 yards and showed that he can be Dana's next Tavon Austin or Tank Dell. But it wasn't just them. The entire offense showed up. Receivers blocked better. The O-line didn't have those drive-killing penalties. The play calls made sense, and we didn't see the negative plays that took him out of position so many times before. Holgersen's responsible for all that. He came to Nebraska 3 weeks ago and he had to figure out the issues. First was the position coaches favoring the wrong guys. Dana fixed that. We saw Emmett and Ja'Cory featured more. The tight end and receiver reps changed based on who he thought gave him the best chance to win. And for the first time since Rule took over, it felt like the offense had a true leader. Holgersen's impact on Dillon starts with the play calling. He finds ways to get receivers open with mesh routes to free him up. He asks Dillon to get the ball out quicker so he isn't waiting too long to let plays develop downfield. And most importantly, he used the running game and the passes out of the backfield to keep the defense honest. The running backs combined for 50% of the offense's total yards against Wisconsin. Think about that. 50% of the yards came from simple handoffs or quick passes out of the backfield that never put any pressure on Dillon to make a play. The guys keep talking about how much more simple the game plan is, and I think what they really mean is that the pressure to think too much is finally gone. I already gave my thoughts on Malachi Coleman hitting the portal, but what's really crazy is Rule saying he expects 50 guys to transfer since there's going to be a new roster limit. Think about being a coach. You're basically forced to cut guys or tell them to leave because they don't have room for them, while at the same time having to add new recruits from high school and other colleges just to build a strong enough roster so they have a chance to beat the Ohio States or Oregons every year. It's a brutal job, but the good thing for players like Malachi is they've already been tampered with by schools like Oklahoma or Colorado, so they'll get paid to play somewhere else. But for the rest of them, there's a lot of question marks. If I had to make a prediction today, I'd say Nebraska adds 7 guys from the portal, but it's going to be hard to pick who they take and who they don't with all that pressure to keep it to 105. As we get deeper into the season, we start to learn more about the teams and really learn a lot more about the players. So with that knowledge, I've been making plays like this one on Prize Picks. I turned $20 into $500 yesterday with Dante Dowdell, Saquon Barkley, Mike Evans, and a few others going for more or less than their projected lines. Calvin took Raiola to complete more than 18.5 passes, Braden Locke to throw a pick, and Wisconsin's kicker to finish with less than 6.5 points. So now if Tyreek Hill has 1 receiving yard on Thursday, his $25 lineup is going to pay $200. Emmett made a $20 Nebraska-Colorado lineup that paid him $160. Huskers United signed up with our code and won $80 off his first $20 lineup. Brandon turned $10 into $180 with Raiola, John Hull, Shedeur Sanders, and a few others. And those are just a few of our winners. We had a bunch more on Discord. So if you want to try Prize Picks yourself, you can sign up with our promo code CORN and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. And you can use that $50 on the Nebraska-Iowa game or anything else you want to play this weekend. Prize Picks is available in Nebraska, California, Texas, and over 30 other states. So if you see your state colored in, you can play there. I'll give out my picks on Wednesday night's live stream and in our Crazed Discord group, which you can join if you click the link below. But if you want to make a lineup and get in on the action with us, you can use our promo code and join us over there. I want to go back to Dana's impact and something Rule said today in his presser. One of the most exciting things we saw against Wisconsin was an aggressive game plan, even though they were playing with a lead. Rules admitted that he typically goes more conservative, which is obviously just a way to try to prevent giving games away. But Dana's approach was completely different. He wanted to score. He wanted to chew up clock, but they needed to get more points if they wanted to guarantee a win. Rule's point today was that he's always learning, and a guy like Holgersen, with as much experience as he has, can teach the rest of the staff how to win at a high level. I want to point this out again because I've only said it 100 times. Rule's a CEO managing his roster, the NIL component, their massive staff, the relationship with the conference, recruiting, and everything else you've got to do to keep the operation going. His strength isn't as a play caller or running an offense that can beat the brightest defensive minds in football. His strength is in hiring the right guys around him to manage those units while he oversees the bigger picture. People keep saying pay Dana whatever he wants, but for these coaches, it's about more than money. It's about the title, it's about the situation, and a bunch of other factors that can push them to one place or another. So whether they both stay as coordinators or they leave for a head coaching job, Rule's experience with bad hires and good ones gives me confidence that no matter what happens, he's more equipped to make even better decisions the next time he's forced to. What was so exciting about Nebraska's offensive explosion wasn't that Nebraska's going to a bowl game. It's that they showed Dillon's the real deal. They showed that the young talent on offense barely scratched the surface this season, and the potential to improve's there with the right play caller. Recruits want to go to a school where they believe they can win, but more importantly, where they believe they can fit into a system that they can help take to the next level. These next 2 games are massive for recruiting. Dana's already got transfers interested, and I bet we see at least 2 high-level receivers come from Power 4 schools. But what about O-linemen? If Nebraska can run the ball and looks competent passing and running, Lincoln's going to be a very attractive destination for the top talent around the country. Now, I'm not making my transfer target video yet, but after the Iowa game, we're going to have a very interesting portal season upon us. The number one question I've seen this week is what bowl game is Nebraska playing in? And that's going to come down to whether they win or lose on Friday. I saw this chart with the 4 most likely games being the Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix, Pinstripe in New York, Music City in Nashville, and Duke's Mayo in Charlotte. But Sean Callahan says he thinks it's going to be either Tampa or Nashville. So if you trust Sean and think Nebraska beats Iowa, expect Tampa's ReliaQuest Bowl on New Year's Eve against a school like Texas A&M, South Carolina, Ole Miss, or Missouri. And if you think they'll lose, the game in Nashville would be on the 30th against a team like Oklahoma, Florida, LSU, or Vanderbilt. But it's really hard to know how things are going to play out since this week we've got a lot of games that can go either way. Regardless, I think Nebraska's entire team sticks around to play, and you see maybe 2 opt-outs. So their chances to win over teams a lot less excited to be there should be pretty high. But I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments below. Was this win enough to make you believe they can beat Iowa, or is playing on the road at night too much to overcome? Is Emmett Johnson your new running back 1, or are you still all in on Dowdell? And which bowl game do you want to see him play in, and against what team? I love the idea of Tampa or Nashville since they could play an SEC team like Ole Miss or Missouri, but the matchup with a Big 12 school like Texas Tech or Kansas would be pretty exciting too. But that's all I've got for today. So until next time, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Go Big Red.